I mean, come on.
Can you even see it?
Yeah, I can see it far enough. There's Becky. Okay. All right, we're going to get started. We got a super guest speaker this time, and we got a new visitor. You want to tell us your name and how'd you end up here?
I
think you're a new visitor, are you? No. Stand up and down.
I'm Johnny.
And you're from?
I am from here now, formerly Seattle, formerly California.
Yeah, it's telling you. No, I'm just joking. We're at Oneida, so we go visiting in the hospital over at Nampa, and half the people we see are from California, and half our neighborhood is anymore.
A lot of years ago.
Well,
When I was a young girl.
I could talk into this, maybe it'd go. Okay. Our own David Huber. And he comes from the great city of almost Seattle.
Bellingham.
Bellingham, there you go.
My son is there.
And he was the chapter president up there and really had the ball rolling, and so he's going to tell us what they did up there and give us some ideas for our group. So, and then this sweet lady back here has been doing a super job on the internet, our webpage. If you haven't been there, go there and go to Google and Google Mended Hearts Boise, and that helps boost our rating up. The more people that do that, I do that about 5 times a week to make sure we're bouncing up there. So, see, I'm trying. But anyway, we even got the last speech recorded here, and it turned out pretty good. So, David, it's all yours.
Okay. Where are you going to land?
Right here.
Okay. Well, Tom being the president, and people in that position, they kind of wield an air of authority. And Tom has kind of hinted in the past that there's certain things that he doesn't have as president to kind of run meetings and be the authoritarian that he wants to be. So I have a lathe.
Oh no!
So I made Tom a gavel so that it was with serious reservation that I made that for him for all the obvious reasons.
Start this meeting. Let's go. Very good.
Yeah, see, I knew there would be some reservations, particularly among the board members, as to him having a device like that. So
Awesome.
But nevertheless, it was like, yeah, I got some spare wood. I'll put something together.
You must have a lathe.
I have a lathe. Yeah, I made it with a lathe. So
Awesome.
I've been doing Mended Hearts for probably about 9 years. I was recruited in Bellingham at the cardiology office, and it's been a very rewarding experience, no doubt about it. I was drawn into the board. I served as chair of membership for a couple of years. I was vice president for about 4 years, and I was president for a couple of years, and then I moved to Boise. But I want to tell you first thing about a story about a guy that I know. This guy woke up middle of the night, 3 a.m. in the morning, and his wife was making sounds like she was having a really bad dream. And he tried to wake her, couldn't wake her, and realized she was in trouble. And then he got her off on the floor, started CPR, was home alone, called 911, and the medics at 3 a.m. in the morning were able to get to his house very quickly, of course. But they were hard-pressed to bring her around. They used the defibrillator on her 7 times to get enough of her in to where they could transport her. And So they took her, of course, to ER, to the cath lab, and the cardiologist, he noticed that, looking at the screen, that she had had several smaller heart attacks prior to this. She was in ICU for 8 days. The first day, she could say a couple of words. She would say no, and she would repeat it, no, 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 or yes, yes, yes. Or the only complete sentence that she ever said was, I want to go, I want to go. She repeated that over and over, and finally she got, I want to go home. And, of course, he thought that, yeah, we're going to get you well and take you home. This is going to all be behind us, and everything's going to be fine. Well, it didn't turn out quite like that. 8 days in ICU, and then they get to the point, of course, where she was stable enough to just be moved to a cardiac wing in the hospital. So she had a neurologist and a cardiologist. A neurologist because she was in cardiac arrest for some unknown amount of time. And as a result, she had some serious brain damage from that. She couldn't talk. She was in pretty much a vegetative state, and tons of muscle tone, just clenched fists and no real activity of any kind. She couldn't eat. She had a feeding tube. She had a physical therapist, an occupational therapist that would see her every day, but it was 1 step forward and 3 steps backwards every day. And finally, one morning, this guy, he lived at the hospital. He slept in a chair, didn't eat, and he just couldn't. And then one morning, he noticed, and he was with her all the time, so he could see changes in her that the nursing staff couldn't always detect from day to day necessarily because of shift changes and whatnot. So he noticed that something was wrong. So he called for help, and the blood pressure was like 50 over nothing. She had a severe infection in her system from her heart disease, from her heart attack. And so the cardiologist says, well, you got to tell us what you want us to do. And it really kind of set him back. Well, what do you mean? Me tell you? You're the doctor. He said, no, you have the choices of taking her back to ICU and starting over, or leave her on the feeding tube and just see what happens, or you can let her go. Not any of those are good choices, but he made a promise. They both made promises to each other years before that if something horrific happened, what do you choose? Do you want to live as in some vegetative state, or do you want to check out? And of course, the request was to check out. So he thought about this and talked to his kids about it, and ultimately made the decision to let her go. And hardest decision ever to be forced to make. What happened is they moved her then to a quieter portion of the hospital. He gave explicit instructions to staff that you can turn her, but you're not going to take her temperature, you're not going to take her blood pressure. They took off all life support. The feeding tube came out, the IVs came out, and she survived 7 more days after that before she passed away. And the guy I'm talking about is me. I went through that, and it was such a horrible, horrible experience that what I wanted to do more than anything else is get in front, particularly a group of women, and encourage heart health, to get their hearts checked, to try to avoid the sheer dismay and heartache of what we went through for 3 weeks. But that ultimately led me to seeing Mended Hearts as an avenue for me to do that, to encourage heart health, even if it's just with patients in the hospital. But I've also visited with, as a result, I became kind of a speaker for a group in Bellingham, visiting with, Rotary and Lions Club, and senior center, anyone that I could get in front of as an audience to encourage that heart health. The thing that I think about with Mended Hearts in those 3 weeks that I was in the hospital with my wife is, what could Mended Hearts have done? How would that have helped? And it's not that Mended Hearts has the solutions, certainly, because we don't. We're not, giving medical advice. We're there as a support. We're the shoulder to lean on when the time comes in a situation like that. And that would have been helpful. At that time, Mended Hearts wasn't active at all in Bellingham, so that wasn't there, but it would have been advantageous to have that. The thing really was, she had family history. Her father died of a heart attack, and I have enough heart health history. My dad had open heart surgery twice. My sister died of a stroke. I ended up having a stent. So for all those reasons, what happened with my wife actually inspired me to be part of Mended Hearts. Now that sounds strange that you would take a traumatic event like that and try to turn it into a positive, but that's how I deal with it, how I accept the loss and try to go out and pay it forward, to give it to somebody else, to give somebody else encouragement, and that's and to encourage heart health, to get your heart checked. And those things are really important to me. And it's something that, that led me to just continue on with Mended Hearts in Bellingham and join up when I got here. The thing that, the word inspiration, if you look up the word inspiration in the dictionary, it says the process of being mentally stimulated to do or feel something, especially to do something creative. Now, the thing that we have as a group here, we have all had some heart health issues. And we have hundreds of people that we are connected to through this chapter that have had heart health issues of some sort. And the thing about that is, in some ways, that's a unique experience that allows you, as a member, as having had a heart issue, to pay it forward as well. Because right now, what we need in Boise is we need more people to help go out and encourage heart health, to encourage people that they're going to be okay, that they're in a good place when they're at the hospital. I actually congratulate people when I visit with them. I had a guy today. He was going in, to have an ablation. He said, "You're the first person that's ever congratulated me for being in the hospital." And I said, "Well, the reason I congratulate you is because you're dealing with it. You're actually taking action to deal with a problem versus ignoring it and let it run its course and living with that. So good for you. You're doing what you should do." The thing that I think we really, again, need a lot more of is volunteers to help with this organization. There's other things besides visiting with patients. Bellingham, they created the Young Mended Hearts group, which is a group designated for Mended Hearts, designated for young adults that are not old rascals like us, but they're in their 20s, 30s, 40s, even 50s, and it was inspired by an oncologist and two other people in Bellingham that felt the need was worth setting up. I mean, Mended Hearts has a group for infants and small children, and then there was a gap between that and the regular Mended Hearts, which is for the more senior citizens. So Bellingham created that, and it got it certified, but Boise could have a chapter, could have a group. It could be part of this group, but we need people to help organize that, to set it up, and you don't have to have your own group of officers. And right now, people that we have in Boise that are interested in being part of the Young Mended Hearts group are referred to Bellingham, because they do Zoom meetings, and Bellingham has members literally all over the country. There's not too many areas that have the Young Mended Hearts group, but Boise, as young as this community is, could use that. And having people to do that would be beneficial. This chapter doesn't spend a ton of money, but having people involved in fundraising, there's lots of avenues where nonprofits can generate revenue for the coffers, so that we have money. Not that we need it, not that we have to have it, but it's nice to have it if you need to spend, if there is a need for it. And there's an opportunity there. There's a number of opportunities where if we had a group that was chasing those down, it would be part of this chapter. It would be part of, it would be a real beneficial to this group. We need as a group to develop stronger ties with the oncology committee, or the oncology doctors and nurses in Boise and Meridian and Napa. In Bellingham, we had such an incredibly close relationship with those people that we could get them almost at the drop of a hat to come in and make a presentation, instead of people like me standing up here in front of you, people that are in oncology that could come and make a presentation. We made them members of our chapter. I mean, you can be a member for free, and we made them members. But we also had no reservations about talking to them, talking to kidney specialists, talking to EMTs, pharmaceuticals. The thing that we were talking about this morning, just before the meeting, in Bellingham, Peace Health Medical Center, where we practiced our Mended Heart visiting, they treated us as though we were part of that hospital. And so we got to participate in things that they did as well. And one of the things that they did that was absolutely incredible was they would do a teen screening. They would select a high school and send out, you could apply to go through the screening process. And we were set up to do weight and height and weight, EKGs. We had the ability to do screening that was way more in depth than what you get in most visits just to the doctor. We had EMTs that were doing it, we had cardiologists that were there, nurses that were there. We would screen on average about 225 to 250 kids. And in every case, we did this. Mended Hearts in Bellingham was involved in three occasions that they did it. And we got to just help out, of course. We weren't doing medical things, but we just got to help. But of those 250 kids, 10%, 25 of those kids had heart health issues that pointed to needing, to see a cardiologist, to have something changed, something corrected in their lifestyle, or maybe some sort of a heart procedure of some sort. We always hear about kids that are dropping dead on the football field or the basketball court, and it's those kids that we're screening out. And to orchestrate something like that with the hospitals or the EMTs or whatever, and that's another activity that this group can really push to be a part of. And the thing that I just keep going back to, the need to get more people volunteering and doing visitations. Your experience in whatever heart health procedure you've had uniquely qualifies you to make a difference, to share your ears. You're listening to the patients more than anything else. It's that sympathetic ear, and it's the encouragement that you can give them. For me, I had a stent 20 years ago that saved my life, and I'm thankful that I had it. And it's easy for me to tell people that by dealing with it versus ignoring it is so incredibly important. We know we're never ever going to get to everyone. It's just not going to happen. I mean, we visit 250, this organization visits with 250,000 people a year.